Welcome to the Happy Wife School show. Thank you so much for your patience. As you guys know, sometimes when I'm going through and getting ready for the live show, different concepts and going deeper into the principles and what I teach on the Happy Wife School come up, and I have to take just the time that I need to let some things sink in to deliver these important messages and to help you in your marriage in the best way that I can. So thank you guys for being such a great audience and your patience, and a big thank you to Steve and Phil for holding down the fort in the chat. Appreciate you both so much and making the chat such a great place to be for those of you that come and show up on Saturdays each week, and also a welcome to anyone who is new that hasn't been able to watch live before. So happy to have you and have you here. And as always, a shout out to the women, the brave and courageous women who join on Saturdays and are soaking in what I have to teach you so that you can be happy in yourself and create a happy marriage with your husband and see your husband through hopefully a whole new lens that you couldn't see before, with the issues and limitations and blocks that we put up in our way from having happy marriages with good men. So thank you guys so much for being here. A couple of announcements as always before I dive into our topic today, which is, does your wife love you anymore? And that's where we're going today. And then I'll check the chat here in just a moment as well. But please check out the Happy Wife School show on Spotify and Apple, where I put these full long form content shows in podcast format. If you like to listen or want to share with others in that way and share the podcast, please go give the Happy Wife School a follow on those two platforms, again, Spotify and Apple. Also, if you or someone you love is struggling with an autoimmune disease or a chronic illness, and you are frustrated with Western medicine and alternative health programs that keep you in symptom management, and you want a way to permanently heal from autoimmune diseases and chronic illnesses, or want to share that with another, please go check out my colleague, the autoimmune expert. She has a YouTube channel, and the link is in the description. You can also watch her free Autoimmune 101 course, which is incredibly insightful of what is really going on that we get autoimmune diseases and chronic illnesses. And there's also a link in the description if you have been checking out Josie and paying attention to her message and her content. You can also find a link to schedule a free consultation with her to see if her programs to permanently heal from autoimmune disease and chronic illnesses are a good fit for you. So please go check that out. And I think with that being said, I'm going to head over to the chat for a minute, and then we'll get started. There we go. All right. Loud and clear. Thank you so much, Phil. Always appreciate you jumping in and giving that message. Welcome, Salty and Ben Wyatt and Monica, Rabid Gator. Great to see you. Lots of familiar names popping up, some new names popping up. Thank you guys so much for being here. And please know that at the end of the show, Phil will send me some questions and comments that I will select and hopefully have some time to answer. So please put in the chat, question for Karen, if you've got a question for me that you want Phil to send my way, and I will pop back over to the chat at the end of the show. So with that being said, let's get started. As always, I like to just, sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't, but today is important to know that my message is for women married to good men. And if you're married to a good man or not, doesn't mean he's a perfect man, doesn't mean he doesn't make mistakes, but that he has a good heart. He's loving, hardworking, caring, wants to take responsibility, is a good provider, and wants nothing more than for you to be happy. That's one of the key indicators of a good man, is all he wants is for his wife to be happy. And until he hits a point of throwing his hands up and giving up, will bend over backward and go through thick and thin to try to make his wife happy. My channel is also for good men, who know you're good men, and that you are struggling with the issues and problems that I talk about on my channel with your wife, so that you can see the reality of your marriage and break out of the gaslighting that you are the problem, and be able to see the reality so that you can be confident and strong in yourself as a good man and have clarity on the reality of the situation in your marriage. So before I dive into does your wife love you anymore, and get started there, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please like this video and share it with anyone you know. It can help. When you like the video, it helps the algorithm and YouTube get the message out to more people. And subscribe so that you don't miss the important information that I'm getting out each week to help you and support you in your marriage. So the reason that I want to talk about does your wife love you anymore is because so many good men reach out to me confused about what has happened to the wife that they fell in love with and married, and don't understand where she went, and feel and experience that she doesn't love him anymore. That's a very common sentiment that men put in reaching out to me, either in writing or when I talk with men, is it feels like she doesn't love me anymore. And so I thought this would be a really good topic to get into for good men to understand if your wife loves you or not, so that you can understand the issues and problems in the marriage, and understand and have clarity so that you are not feeling confused. So good men, when they get married to the woman that they marry, they really do fall in love. And they think the woman they are marrying is the one they will be with for the rest of their lives, that they will go through thick and thin. And they believe the woman that they're marrying loves them back in the same way. They really, really do fall in love. Whereas for us as women, we fall in love with the idea of being in love. As women, we fall in love with the idea of being in love. So what's important is to understand and define love. The first place we're going to go is defining love, because men and women experience love differently. Women and men experience love differently. And so we're going to define love. We're not going to define romantic love or passionate love. We're going to define what love really is and is meant to be in a marriage and a relationship. So I found 3 definitions of love that really give a pragmatic view on love in a relationship or marriage. The first definition of love is the selflessness, loyalty, care, and being there no matter what. Second definition of love is a willingness to sacrifice for the benefit of another. And the third definition of love is that love is a warmth, fondness, and regard toward another. These 3 definitions of love that fit together. This is how a good man would define his love for his wife. That the love for his wife is selfless, loyal, shows care and being there for her no matter what. That a good man in his love for his wife is willing to sacrifice for the benefit of his wife, and that a good man's love for his wife has a warmth, fondness, and regard toward her. These are all definitions that a good man would say love means to him. Love is very pragmatic to a good man, and these are very pragmatic definitions of how a good man sees love. And he sees love as a verb. To a good man, love is a verb. It's something that needs constant care, attention, and tending to. And it is an ongoing, evolving experience in the relationship. Whereas for us as women, we experience a very emotional form of love, where love is how you make me feel. To a woman, love is how you make me feel, which makes love very conditional. And in that experience of emotional love, the only way that we can feel loved is if you make me feel the way I need to feel to feel loved. And if you don't make me feel the way I need to feel loved, then I don't feel loved. And because it's emotional in that way, it's conditional. We make love conditional, that if you don't make me feel loved, then I am not going to do anything to show my love toward you because you are not making me feel loved. So in a marriage, for us as women and as wives, that if we don't feel loved, it is our husband's responsibility for why we don't feel loved. And this is why when we have the experience of love being emotional and conditional as women, it highlights that as women, we fall in love with the idea of being in love, not the verb of love, which fosters the selflessness, loyalty, care, and being there for our husbands no matter what. The willingness to sacrifice for our husbands and the benefit for them. That love is a warmth, fondness, and regard toward another. We can't be in the verb of love and what love truly means in a marriage and in a long-term commitment and give it that care and foster the environment and ways that we are showing up to love and receive that love in our marriages, because we fall in love with the idea of being in love. Hence why we read romance novels and watch soap operas and love romantic comedies, because all of those are the fantasy of love, not what love truly is. I have an older episode, one of my first ones, probably within the first 20 episodes of the Happy Wife School show, called The Fantasy of Love. And that's one that you want to watch to go more in depth into our concept as women in the fantasy of love. So this again is just the differences that we have as men and women. Another way, we are wired differently. And one of the challenges for good men in a marriage is that they project their ability to love so generously onto their wives and believe that their wives are wired in the same way and have the ability to love them back as they love her. And that's where they get confused and lost in the confusion, that they don't feel that experience of love from their wives that they give so freely. And so what I'm going to share is difficult for a good man to hear, can be heartbreaking and crushing to realize your wife doesn't love you. But the purpose of this for the men listening is to not be a victim to your wife's inability to love you and love in the way that you give so freely. It's to understand the reality. It's part of the red pill for men to break out of the gaslighting and emasculation in the marriage. Is you have to see the truth and the reality and not go into victim and feeling that it's being done to you. It's really the nature of women that you never knew. So that you can see the reality and you can still love your wife, but have realistic expectations and experiences in the marriage. And I'll talk about later in the solution for men, the importance of retiring from making her happy and believing that that is your responsibility. And for the women listening, this is a red pill moment to because where I'm going to go for us as women is talking about why we are so incapable of love in the way that I defined, so that we have the self-awareness of what's going on with us internally, which actually has nothing to do with our husbands or our marriage, but is actually a solvable problem within ourselves, so that we can open our hearts and truly love in the ways that I defined what love looks like in a marriage, and have a whole new experience of yourself and a whole new experience of your husband. So this is about seeing the truth, which then allows us to actually change and have a different experience of ourselves, whether and of our marriages, whether you're a man listening or you're a woman listening. So, in speaking into the men, and is that what I want you to know from this right up front, and this is the part that's very difficult to hear, is the reason that your marriage is in the state it is in, the reason that you have the problems in your marriage that you have with your wife, is because your wife does not love you. The reason your marriage is in the state that it is, the reason that your marriage has the problems that it has, as a good man who loves your wife freely and generously because that is your nature, is because your wife does not love you. She is incapable of loving and being loved. So why? Why, as a woman, is she incapable of loving and being loved? And the answer is because as women, we build walls around our heart. We build walls around our heart. And with our walls up as women, we are incapable of loving another and incapable of being loved. And the reason with our walls up that we can't let love in or let any love out toward our husbands or even others in our lives is that with our walls up, we are cold, we're shut off, we have a deep fear of love with our walls up, we have a deep fear of vulnerability with our walls up. And it's a protective mechanism. Our walls are a protective mechanism to guard our hearts and protect ourselves from letting any love in or letting love out. It is impossible. With our walls up, it's impossible to love. It's impossible to be loved with our walls up. Our walls in our marriage create a lens and an experience of distrust toward our husbands. Our walls in our marriage create a lens and experience of distrust toward our husbands. Distrust is the expectation that another individual's motives, intentions, and behaviors are harmful to one's own interests. So what that means for a woman in her marriage is that distrust is the expectation that her husband's motives, intentions, and behaviors are harmful to her own interests. It is our walls, ladies listening, and also for the men listening. So you see, it's not you. It's not you that your wife distrusts you and has pushed out your love and won't let any love out toward you. It's not something you've done. It's not something you need to change. And women, you need to know that as well. The problem lies within us. We are the problem with a good man because of our walls. That's like if you drill down what I most want to teach women married to good men, that can be a bitter pill to swallow, but is your doorway to freedom, to have a whole new experience of yourself, a whole new experience of your marriage, a whole new experience of your husband, is that we are the problem with a good man because of our walls. It is our walls that create our woman ways and how we treat our husbands. It's what creates the negative lens. It's what creates the emasculation and the gaslighting, because all of these woman ways are the mechanism that we operate through from our walls that destroys a good man and then creates the negative lens of which we see him, and we blind ourselves from the man we chose to marry, who loves us freely and wants nothing more than for us to be happy, and jumps through hoops trying to make us happy and bending at every corner to try to do the things they think will finally make us happy, and they will feel loved back in return. That will never, ever, ever work because we have our walls up. It is our walls that cause us to perceive our husband's motives from a lens of distrust. And through that lens that we create from behind our walls, which is a distorted, twisted, bended reality, is how we view the marriage and the problems to fit the lens of distrust. That we make our husbands the problem and the bad guy in the marriage, which isn't the reality. We have twisted and have bent the reality of our marriage and the problems to fit our lens of distrust. So what this means is that we have our walls to protect us from what we think our husbands do to hurt and mistreat us. But the kicker of it all is that the walls are why we feel so hurt and mistreated. Our walls are why we feel so hurt and mistreated. Our walls are really, like, I've been working with this for myself and understanding my walls for a long time now. A long time. And as I was writing this out, it sinked in even in deeper of how messed up we make ourselves with our walls. How messed up we make our marriages, how destructive we are to our husbands from our walls. And we feel so complicated internally as women. We feel so complicated that we are impossible to figure out. And I understand why. Because of the complicated mess that we create by having walls thinking that they protect us. But they don't. They are very destructive to our own sense of self and very destructive to our husbands, to our marriages, and others in our lives. So, ladies that are listening, at the end, after I go through the next section, we're going to talk about the solution to drop our walls, because it is a choice that we never knew we had to drop our walls, and that having a true, genuine sense of safety and secureness in ourselves and our marriages and our lives, feeling grounded, in control, peaceful internally, in control of our emotions, even when we are emotional, having a strength we never knew we had, can only happen without our walls. Our walls give us a false sense of security, a false sense of strength. And our walls are actually our weakness, that our limitations and unhealthy behaviors, especially in our marriages, stem from. So we're going to talk about what the solution is, how to drop the walls, that we actually do have that choice. So that's where we're going more toward the end of the show, to look at the solution. And going back and talking with men, we're going to get into 7 ways to know if your wife loves you or not. 7 ways to know if your wife loves you or not. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss the important content that I get out to help you and support you in your marriage. And please like this video so that it helps the algorithm to get my message out to more people who need it. So the reason that a good man needs to know if his wife loves him or not is to be able to see that the reason your marriage is in the state it is in and has the problems it has is because your wife does not love you. And while that is crushing and very difficult for a good man to hear, it is necessary so that you can see the reality of the marriage and not get sucked into the gaslighting that you are the problem. And at the same time, also, this helps men to not be a victim. It's not to be a victim of my wife is doing this to me, but to see the reality and to know you did not marry the wrong woman. I know that can be very difficult for a man to let in. You did not marry the wrong woman. That as women, we have an incapacity, an inability to be able to love and to be able to let love in. And it's on a spectrum. That's right. There we go. It's on a spectrum. And some men are married to women on the high end of the spectrum of the issues and problems in a marriage I talk about. Most women are in the middle somewhere, and some women are on the very low spectrum. And if you're a man married to a woman on the low spectrum, you hit the jackpot. And anywhere else you want to know, that's common and normal, that these are the issues that we have. But you have to see the reality so that she no longer has the power over you to make you feel emasculated, gaslit, manipulated, lonely, unloved, that you don't have control to change your wife, but you have to control to change your experience of the marriage and of your wife. Because the truth is that most men choose to continue to stay in their marriage with the problems they're navigating with their wife because they love their wives and they've made a commitment and they take their vows seriously and they have values that are bigger than they are, that they want to honor as part of their character and integrity. So as I get into this list of 7 ways to know if your wife loves you or not, it is important to know the definitions of love that I am referring to, so that you can clearly see that if your wife does these things, these 7 things I'm going to go over, then you can know she does not love you, so that you can see the reality and begin to rebuild yourself, not being sucked into her gaslighting of you that you are the problem in the marriage. So these are the 3 definitions of love, of how a good man defines love. Number 1, love is the selflessness, loyalty, care, and being there for another no matter what. The second definition of love is that love is a willingness to sacrifice for the benefit of another. And the third definition of love is that love is a warmth, a fondness, and a regard toward another. And this is how a good man would define his love for his wife. And this is not what a good man feels back from his wife because of our walls and protecting our hearts. And from our walls, we push love away and cannot love back. So getting into 7 ways to know if your wife loves you or not, knowing that if your wife does these things, you know she does not love you. Number 1, she does not have regular and engaged sex with you. If your wife loved you, she would know that sex is important to you and that it is foundational to a healthy marriage. Number 2, she does not support you in your own hobbies or interests, including having guy time. If your wife loved you, she would want you to be happy and have things you enjoy that are important to you. Number 3, to know if your wife loves you or not. Number 3, she doesn't give you space when you get home. She expects you to immediately jump into the chaotic life that she has created with the children. If your wife loved you, she would respect what you do during the day as a provider, understand that you had your own set of challenges that day or challenges you are going through, and she would give you space to unwind. Number 4, she pushes your affection away and pulls away from your touch. If your wife loved you, she would feel attractive, wanted, and desired by your affection. Number 5, she does not compliment you and tell you how much she appreciates you for all you do for the family and around the home. If your wife loved you, she would value you as the man of the house and all the contributions you make as a husband and a father. Number 6, to know if your wife loves you or not. Number 6, she does not value you for the good man you are and feels like you are a burden and obstacle in her life, that you are something she has to put up with. If your wife loved you, she would see your good qualities as a man and feel fortunate that she chose you as her husband. And number 7, she is not nice to you anymore. She is moody and always complaining. If your wife loved you, she would be kind and thoughtful and in control of her emotional state. In summing up the entire list, if your wife loved you, she would be proud to be your wife. She would feel like she hit the jackpot with having you as a husband. And if your wife really loved you, you would not have these problems or the other problems that you're experiencing from her lack of being happy in the relationship and blaming you for the problems. That if she really loved you, you would not have the problems you have in your marriage. You would never need to go to marriage counseling. You would never need to read relationship books. You wouldn't need to watch my content or other content out there about relationships. The reason that it works that way in a marriage between a woman and a good man, that a good man's nature is he loves and adores his wife, even in spite of the way she treats him. A good man still loves and adores his wife. And when he gets even a tenth, as I often say, a tenth of her love and attention, he will go above and beyond to give back in the relationship and be there for his wife and care for her and love her in all the ways that he can. And as women, if we truly loved our husbands and could give that love back out, then we wouldn't have our walls and we could experience and feel the love our husbands have for us as good men. We could see them as the men that they are, all of their good qualities. And the problems would go away. You would have what I talk about in the dance. Doesn't mean that problems or issues wouldn't pop up. That's just the reality of marriage. That's the reality of life. But you would be able to dance through them as a team of husband and wife. And the issues you're struggling with now would not be there. That if we truly loved our husbands, what that would look like is just reverse the list, as I did as I went through it. The second part, that if we loved our husbands, we would. But the only way to do that is in dropping our walls. So in getting into the solution and talking directly to the women listening, ladies, we all know that we have walls. I have yet to talk with a woman or work with a woman over the over 11 years that I have been supporting in myself in my marriage, and then being able to help and support other women in their marriage. I've never met or worked with a woman who did not know that she has walls. We know we have walls. But what I want you to know that we've never known is that you have a choice. You have a choice in your walls that we did not know that we had. And that choice is that you can drop your walls. It truly is just a choice. We have to move from camp victim to camp take responsibility to know that we made the choice to build the walls. The walls didn't just happen. That's camp victim. If we believe that it's the hurts, the experiences, the challenges, the wrongs we've gone through in our lives built our walls, that's putting the power and control outside of us, which renders us powerless against our walls. The very first step in dropping your walls is you must be willing to go from camp victim of something or someone has happened to me that I have to protect myself and have walls around my heart, to camp take responsibility, which is, yes, I've gone through hurts and challenges and wrongs in my life because that's a part of life. But I chose to build the walls and put the walls around my heart. I'm the one limiting myself and making myself incapable of loving and being loved. Can't take responsibility. I made the choice to build them and put them up. So I have the choice to take them down. They are in my power and in my control. And until you drop your walls, you will not allow yourself to love your husband or be loved by him. Our walls push love away. And as I had to do, that I hope you will take the step to do, is that you must get grounded in knowing that you are safe without your walls, especially with a good man. You are safe without your walls. It is actually our walls that cause us to feel unsafe, to distrust, to feel that we are going to be hurt, taken advantage of, and walked all over. It is our walls that create those beliefs and that experience of ourselves. The truth is that I discovered only when I was willing to drop my walls and take responsibility for them, that I put them up, I built them, I created them. So it was up to me to demo them and take them down. The truth is that without your walls, you can be free loving, soft, free to engage in affection and playfulness with your husband. Without your walls, you feel a camaraderie and a dance with your husband. The stick we have goes away, along with all the rigidity and the need to be in control and the tight grasp we have on ourselves and our lives to feel in control when that's a false sense of control. We don't actually feel it. Without our walls, there's a thoughtfulness we have toward our husbands, consideration for him and his feelings that emerge. Your selfishness vanishes. Without your walls, you develop a strong sense of self-awareness and the ability to understand and be in control of your emotions, even when you're emotional. And without your walls, your lens changes to see your husband for who he truly is. And you want to know then that he will give back and care for you tenfold because that is his nature as a good man. It's just who he is. So how? What's a pragmatic way to make that choice to drop our walls after we are willing to go from camp victim to camp take responsibility, to take accountability for our walls? So the pragmatic way that I dropped my walls, and that you can too, is a willingness to know and own that you are with a good man. The pragmatic way to drop your walls is to a willingness to know and own that you are with a good man. When you own and know that you are with a good man, you know that you are safe, that his intentions are good, loving, and in your best interest. You feel and know that all he wants is for you to be happy, for your sake. And of all the people in the world, you know you can be safe and trust your husband as a good man. That of all the people in the world that you know you can be safe with and trust is your husband as a good man. And then there is no need for your walls. They disappear. Because from here, you don't take his mistakes personally. He's going to make mistakes. He's human. He's still fallible as a good man. It's just knowing the nature of who he truly is as a good man, and the enormity of his heart and love that he wants to give to you and share with you. And when you drop your walls and know and own he's a good man and recognize that out of all the people in the world, he's who you can be safe with. He's who you can trust. You don't take his mistakes personally. You have an understanding and acceptance that he's human and that he never has intentions to hurt you. But even when good men make mistakes, even big mistakes, hurtful mistakes, you know his intentions are not to hurt you. And so the lens of hurt and the Rolodex of hurt that we collect and keep goes away. And you begin to realize that it was your projection onto him of who you created him to be through the lens of your walls that created a poor image of him. You realize that it was your projection onto him because of your walls that created a poor lens and image of him. And so your lens completely changes. But you will never, ever feel truly loved until you drop your walls. And it's as simple as taking a responsibility for them and getting grounded and a willingness to see you are married to a good man. So in speaking to the men about the solution, because it is heartbreaking and crushing in a way I can't imagine or fully understand as a woman, but know it to be true through my interactions with good men. I know it's crushing and heartbreaking to know your wife doesn't love you. But here's the thing, and the solution is that you don't stop being a good man. You don't need to stop loving your wife, because that's your nature. And when you are true to your nature for the sake of yourself, not at the sacrifice of yourself, but for the sake of yourself, when you are true to who you are, to be the good man you are, to love your wife unconditionally, in spite of who she is and how she treats you and her lack of love and in her woman ways, you feel good about yourself and maintain your confidence in your strength that is inherent to you as a good man that you unknowingly gave away to your wife, believing that she would love you in the same ways you can love as a good man. So you stay true to yourself in being a good man and loving your wife for the sake of you, because it's what helps you maintain your sense of self and groundedness and stability in the relationship and in the face of her woman ways. But the key for men in that is that you must retire. You must retire from trying to make your wife happy, meaning taking on the responsibility that it is your job to make her happy. You have to accept and let in through seeing the reality of what's really happening. You have to see it is not your responsibility. It is not your job to make her happy. You have to let go of the belief that you have bought into and get drilled with by your wife and society and culture, and the church and the books on leadership and being a man in your marriage, the really bad advice that is out there. You have to let go of the belief that there's something you can do to make your wife happy, or there's something you're doing wrong that she is unhappy. You have to let that go. That you are not the source of your wife's unhappiness, and there is nothing you can do to make her happy because she is unhappy in herself. So you have to take all the energy that you've been putting into all of her demands and laundry list of what will make her happy that you do, that unknowingly gives your power away. You have to take all that energy and put it back into yourself and reconnect with the things that you enjoy and your interests and the things that make you feel good about yourself and your life, and not be scared of how angry she's going to be with you, because the truth is she's already angry. She's going to be angry no matter what you do. So that's why I say, get a bigger doghouse. If you are making the choice to stay in your marriage because of your values, your commitment to your vows, and staying for something bigger than you, you have to get a bigger doghouse. And you have to retire from trying to make your wife happy. You still be the good man you are. You be a good husband. You be a good dad. But you do those things for the sake of yourself, to feel good about who you are, not thinking that it's going to change your wife in some way. Because unless she makes that choice to change for herself, she's not changing. And there's nothing you're going to do to make that happen. It's impossible. It's futile. So you have to put that energy into yourself and get comfortable in the uncomfortable of your wife being angry at you and not loving you, so that you are not a victim. Because if you're choosing to stay, you have to take responsibility. It is my choice to stay. I see the reality of my wife. I see she's not willing to change. I see this is who she's going to be. But I am choosing to stay for my own reasons and my own values that are important to me. So I can't be a victim to this. It's just the reality. And that's where it's so important. And what I often say, that you didn't marry the wrong wife. You just married a woman, and you didn't know that this was the nature of a woman. And that's why be grateful for, if you have a wife in the middle or on the low end of the spectrum, then be grateful, because you are still going to have good times. You're still going to see the good things about your wife, and you have to learn to navigate and use her woman ways and her lack of love to make yourself stronger in yourself, and embrace the obstacle. And I say embrace the suck, not in a way of being a victim, but in a way of making yourself stronger. So for women listening, for men listening, if you want help to be able to navigate in the paths that I teach to women and good men, you can find the link in the description below to my courses and learn more about them. For the women, I have a free Happiness 101 course that takes it aside and apart from your marriage to just look at you and what's the unhappiness in us, why it's there, and what it takes, moving from camp victim to camp take responsibility, to feel good about ourselves, to have a healthy relationship with ourselves, which is the foundation to begin to let go of our woman ways. And for men, my course for men, created by my mentor, David, is to learn to take your power back that you unknowingly gave away, to rebuild your strength and confidence, and to get clarity on the reality of your marriage so that you can make a choice, be grounded in that choice, take responsibility for it, so that you have your sense of self and can navigate by being educated on what a relationship with a woman really looks like, and get you back and feel like a man again. So again, those links are down below that you can check out. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, please subscribe if you are not already, so that you don't miss the content I put out to help you in your marriage. And please like this video so it helps the algorithm to get it out to more people. And please share it with anyone you know that it can help. So I'm going to pop over to the chat, answer a couple questions, and then we will wrap up for the day. We are having, again, unseasonably warm weather here in Colorado, so I'm going to take advantage of that with Adam and hopefully go enjoy some outside weather and sun. So I don't mind the warmer weather in the winter, because it gets mixed in with the cold too. Oh, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, Rhode Island Street Preaching. You're the best, Karen. Sorry if I spelled your name wrong. You actually nailed it. You nailed it. Karyn. That is how you spell my name. Oh, thank you so much, Phil. Outstanding show today. I will be watching this one several times. Thanks so much for that. It's always nice to hear at the end, sometimes when I'm in the midst of going through the live, that I can have, is this coming out right? Am I making the connections correctly? And is it resonating? So I appreciate that feedback so much. From Femi Williams, God bless you, Karen. You are doing the Lord's work. Marriage is beautiful and foundation of society, but sadly, it can also be very challenging at times. What a wonderful statement. And from Jason Reed, thank you so much. Thank you for not being afraid to share the truth. Thank you guys so much for your lovely comments and feedback, and for the generous contributions. Those come to me at the end of the month, and I share them with Adam for us to go out and have some fun. So thank you guys so much for that. It means a lot, and I always share it. Share your comments and generosity with Adam, so it's much appreciated. All right, let's see. Colleen, nice to see you. Yeah, you guys are having like a totally opposite weather experience there on the East Coast. Maryland is the frozen tundra. Feels more like Minnesota. I've been watching that. I've got family in the Midwest and in the South and on the East Coast. Thanks, Ben. Thank you, Karen. You're a lifesaver. Thank you guys. Oh, let's see. It's coming in. Hodge, thank you so much. You're very, very welcome, and I appreciate you and your kindness very much. So I'm going to head over I'm going to go over to the questions and comments that Phil sent. Thank you, Phil. And a big, just again, shout out to Phil and Steve for doing such an awesome job in the chat on Saturdays. They are always here every Saturday for a couple of years now, and just do a great job. So thank you guys. All right. Yes. Oh, great question, Patriot Defender. Chris, thank you. Do women realize they have walls in the first place? Yes, we know that we have walls. Women will describe their walls. Some of our walls are wrapped in barbed wire. They've got spikes. It's like a fortress that nobody's getting through. And we know we have walls. The problem is in our understanding and knowing we have walls, because we live in camp victim, blaming our life circumstances, blaming what's happened to us, blaming others, blaming our past, blaming our upbringing, blaming our parents, blaming our husbands. That's what we believe, the circumstances and actions of others, the wrongs of others, the hurt from others. We believe in camp victim. Our walls have happened to us. And then we believe that we need our walls to protect us, not realizing how self-destructive they are. So in camp victim, we don't have the self-awareness that we created the walls. So the only way as women we can drop the walls, we know how awful they feel. We know how icy and cold we can become, how fearful we are of vulnerability, how fearful we are of love with our walls. We experience and know all of that. But we can't overcome that until we take responsibility that we created them. That's the problem. So we know we've got the walls, but we can't do anything about them living in camp victim. In camp victim, we fog ourselves and blind ourselves to our own actions and behaviors that create our experience. We blind ourselves to the fact that we've built our walls and there's no hope from that place to drop them. So that's why it takes an open-minded woman who wants to change, who knows her walls are a problem in her marriage or other relationships in her life, and she wants to take responsibility for them and wants to have another way to live and be in her marriage and in her life and experience herself, to be willing to do the work, to move from camp victim to camp take responsibility so that she can drop her walls. So thank you for that question. Salty, thank you for the question. How long has Karen been doing this? So I met my mentor over 11 years ago. So when I first met my mentor, in order to teach the concepts that he developed and created, I had to do the work personally in order to take it into my professional help of others. And I worked with my mentor for about a year, more in just learning victim versus taking responsibility, and starting to move the dial towards camp take responsibility. And after a year is when I began to work on my marriage and my woman ways and understand emasculation and gaslighting and what I was creating. And I very quickly opened to that. It wasn't easy. I had plenty of ups and downs. And as I began to learn about myself and what I was doing in my marriage, I quickly brought that into my work with women and work with men. And then we developed the programs that we have to help women outgrow their woman ways and to help a good man regain his strength and confidence and learn how to navigate his relationship and understand what's really going on. So 11 years, but with the specifics of relationships and marriage, about 9.5, 10 years. And then we created the courses we have that we still use, but there's been different variations of them and iterations of them for about 7 or 8 years. So thanks for the question. Colleen, does Karen have a Facebook account to share her content? I do not. I used to have a Facebook group for women with about 5,000 members in it, most of who I don't think listened or cared to listen. They thought it was going to be something else. But I don't have my content on Facebook because I'm not, I've made a personal choice not to be on social media platforms other than YouTube. Is it social media or not? But I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok. just a personal choice for myself. However, interestingly, there is a Happy Wife School TikTok channel with quite a big following that I feel is just someone who wants the content there and doesn't try to pretend to be me or impersonate me or anything like that, but does post my videos. So great question. But yeah, as of right now, that hasn't changed. Those just aren't platforms that I want to be on personally for my own health and well-being and with technology. So, we've got YouTube. I'm on Spotify and Apple. Books are on the way. And some other ideas in the works as well to continue to get the message out. Thank you, Tarius. Hello, my friend. I appreciate your videos. Thank you so much. And from Smoke Dog, always so wonderful to hear you saved my life. Thank you. I appreciate that comment and know how true that can be for the men listening. So good for you. I'm glad it found you. From Steve Jackson, good medicine here. Since I started listening, my life and marriage have improved immensely. That is wonderful to hear and so happy for you and your wife. You're both very blessed, and thank you for sharing that. And from Mike88GT, always good to see your name pop up. When will you do another show with your husband? Good question. I'll have to think about that and get back to you guys and talk with Adam. So thanks so much for that. No plans as of yet, but he's open to it. We've talked about it. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Phil, for collecting those questions and comments and sending them over. Just pop over here for just a moment. And just thank you, Monica. Monica said amazing show as always. Yeah. Let's see. Carolyn's here. Lots of good women in the chat. Carolyn said, so much good info to take in. I'm really self-reflecting. Good for you. I'd really need to try to drop my walls. I have so much to learn to show better love and serve my husband. Good for you. So see, the women are out there, and so happy that you're listening and it's reaching you. And guys, I think that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, and I will see you next Saturday. Make sure that's correct. Yep. I will be gone. What Saturday is that? I think it's the 28th, the last Saturday of February. I will not be here. But I'll be here next week and the week after. So looking forward to it. Hope you guys have a nice rest of your weekend, a good week ahead. And I'll see you next Saturday. Thanks so much.